Hello.
I forgot.
It's okay. 1, 2, 3. Hello. We're bad at board games.
Well, he's bad at board games.
I'm Brad Lake.
I'm Topher Ferguson.
Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to go over our review of Hadrian's Wall. I didn't think this was going to be out until 2022, and lo and behold, I was scrolling through Board Game Geek and saw that it was available. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get it now. So we're going to go over why I had to get this and what made me think that this was going to be a game for me a little later. But Toph, what were your first thoughts? You've only played this once. I'm up to about 5 plays now. This thing is cycling through my family. My kids like, we got to play this again. So what did you think?
Hey, I liked it. So final impressions, I liked it. I was a little on the fence I was on the wall in the beginning. When we first started playing, I guess I had a different impression of what we were going to do. In my mind, I knew that we were chaining things and working across all these different areas, but I don't know. I think I focused on one area way too much in the very beginning, and then I kind of understood how to make my resources work across the entire board. I felt a little bit more efficient, and apparently I did well enough because I ended up almost winning.
You tied, and then you lost the tiebreaker.
I lost the tiebreaker.
So this game can come across as intimidating. What is this game? How about we start there? It's not necessarily rolling right.
It's a flipping right.
It's a flipping right. And the fun thing about this scratches an itch I never knew I had. I like marking something off, and when I mark that off, it gives me a brick, or it gives me a little yellow worker, or it gives me a purple worker. And then you take that purple worker, and then you go and do the purple worker thing. And oh, that gave me something else, gave me another brick or another resource. And you just keep going and going and going and going and going. And it's like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I don't know why it's fun. I have never been into the flipping rights or the rolling rights, but man, do I enjoy playing this game.
I think the thing that finally stuck to me, and I think that's what you were talking about, I do an action and I get some kind of a reward, whether that is a meeple, whether that's one of the bricks, or an increase in one of the tracks, the victory tracks, which might then also give me another resource, or it might give me something else. And that's what I missed in the beginning of the game. So not that I'm very well experienced with roll and write or flip and write games, but this has a lot more chaining action than the other games that I have played. And that's where this game, to me, stands out as actually a gamer's flip and write or roll and write, is that it's a lot going on. There's a lot more to this game in all the different various aspects that you are almost surprised at. Oh, I can get extra here, which will give me more here. So I may want to do A and I may want to do B, but in order to do B, I have to do C, D, E, F, and G in order to get it done. Yeah. And so there's a lot of puzzly action to it. That's good.
Yeah, and this game looks intimidating. It actually feels intimidating the very first time you're trying to learn it and trying to teach it. But after a couple turns, you understand the game. Yeah. The intimidating part of this is the fact that it's not just A, B, and C. It is A through double Z mini games that you have going on, all to get victory points. So this is a victory point game, just like anything else. And you have renown, piety, valor, and discipline. Those are your 4 victory conditions. And then at the end of every turn, you have the barbarians who are coming to attack your wall. And you're flipping over cards to find out where the barbarians are attacking. And every round, more and more cards get flipped, and they're attacking one of 3 sections of your wall. And if you don't defend your wall, you get negative victory points for not defending your wall. But if you let some through, you can bribe some politicians, and then people aren't as mad at you, and they don't remember that you didn't defend the wall as well as you should have.
I let one through. Only one. I did bribe my way out of it. I might be ashamed of that. I might not be ashamed of it. But yeah, that is true. It's not just the roll and write that you're trying to complete things. There's also a game aspect to it where you do have these barbarians that are attacking. You also have your own victory conditions that you're working on. So while you have the main victory track, you have these 4 areas, you also have goals that you are working on that might be different than the other people playing at the table. And so that also makes it a little bit more complex and a little bit more engaging for somebody to feel like they're playing a board game, a gamer's game,
right,
as opposed to just maybe a party game, which is still fun, but is not going to draw in the more complicated, want to sit and play for a while.
Yeah, and don't get it wrong. There's nothing party game about this. You are not going to want to have a bunch of friends over and go like, hey, I'm going to pull out Hadrian's Wall, and we're going to do this for about an hour. This is an hour-long game. It is a gamer's game. The other part about it is it's not card drafting per se, but you get 12 cards for your army, and everybody has the same 12 cards, but you have to draft within your card set. So you are looking at the victory conditions at the top, and I can build large buildings and get victory points for every large building I build. But if I don't use it, then I get these meeples and resources at the bottom. So it makes it difficult. Am I going to go for this victory condition, which I may not be able to get because I care more about the resources on this card? Or am I going to go with this victory condition because I'm like, I'm already there, but I really want the other card's resources because I can chain things together a little bit more. So you're drafting against yourself. And, you know, it gives you that, I don't like either one of these choices, but you got to keep rolling with it and go forward.
Yeah, and the thing with the game that I like, especially when it comes to those conditions, is you cannot do everything. And Brad warned me of that before we started playing the game. It's like, there's a lot to this. You can't do everything. And that's where you pick a strategy, you go for it, and then all of a sudden you have a new win condition, because every round a new set of cards is coming out, and you're deciding, okay, here's a new challenge that I can go for, but it is the one area of this board that I have not even given any attention to at all. So there's no way I'm going to do anything with it. So do I just burn those points? Do I change directions? There's only 6 rounds. You can't really change directions in this game. So there is strategy to it. There is a bit of tension when we were pulling the cards, trying to figure out what are we going to do, what are we going to go with, what's somebody else going to go with, and you know, how's it going to go. Of course, it plays so fast you don't know what anybody else is doing. You can't pay attention to anybody else.
Yeah, so this is a game of multiplayer solitaire. Now, it's still fun. Now, Toph knows I like the interaction. I don't really want to just be sitting here in my own little bubble. I do like Euro games. I like all the thinky, but you can still get in somebody's way. Gaia Project comes to mind. But this game is very rewarding. Everybody that we've played it with, now there's been about 8 or 9 or 10. It's probably been 10 because my son's friends even came over and played it. You get addicted to this, and you said it well. You get a reward, and you start feeling clever. And toward the end of the game, you're trying to figure out how to turn this little blue guy into a victory condition. But to turn that little blue guy into a victory condition, you need to go get a brick, and then that brick's going to let you go and get a sword, and the sword's going to let you come back and then bribe somebody that lets you do something else. And so you have all these mini games, and they can all chain together to help you get that one victory point that may allow you to win at the end of the game, or may get you, complete one of your citizen tracks, which is another, your quests or side jobs that's going on, so that you can win, because the games end up being pretty close.
They do, a lot closer than I thought they were going to be. Another thing that's fun, so it is solitaire for the most part. You're playing in front of yourself. There's a little bit of interaction with some of the cards, but for the most part you're playing with yourself. But everybody is playing at one time. And what it was with the 5 of us that we were playing when we were the other night, we are sitting down all playing at one time, and all of us are talking through what we're doing. And it's not that it's timed, but all of us are working quick, like this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to do this. And you can hear it because then all of a sudden somebody goes, oh, and that gets me this. And then they grab the resource, and you're like, crap, I don't want them to get more resources. I need to chain better with mine so I can work better on these. And so you really can, especially if you have a group like our group tends to be very vocal and kind of just, we all play together, we all just play out loud, and we're all kind of battling against each other with this. And at least that was in my mind, was going, oh no, Sierra got this. Wait, Brad's still going. Why am I out of resources already? Brad's still going. I need to do better at this. I need to be the last one to use all my resources so that I can, be that person that chained the most to get the most benefit out of that round.
So, what's your rating? What would you rate this? And now you've had one gameplay, so take that into consideration. New games are either like, oh, hit it out of the park, or it's like, I just didn't get it. It's rare that they're in between, but if you were going to say 1 out of 10, first impression rating, what would you give it?
Probably a 7.
7.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about that. I should have thought about that before we started this. I think I would put it at a 7. It is a great game. It is a game that I would want to play. My probably reasoning for not putting it higher would be I don't know how long I want to play this game. And maybe it will change my mind. Maybe the more that I play it, I'll start to realize that there's enough strategy in it that I want to try different things each time I play. It is one that I would consider buying for myself. So while I am putting it at a 7, it is one that I would want in my collection. I don't know if it's one I will bring to the table all the time, but I don't know. At the same time, I could see ending almost every night with a game of this. So,
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, I've played it more than 5 times now. I would say it starts out for me at a 9. I think over time, if I can't figure out multiple ways to win, and if there's really just one path to winning, it's going to drop. But there's enough fun in it, and just this, you're sitting here, you're like, oh, I got this, and I got this. You're doing this back and forth, and like I said, I never knew I had an itch to scratch that had anything to do with something like this. It was just a lot of fun. The game that made me think I was going to enjoy this is Super Mega Lucky Box, and if you're questioning if you would like something like this, this is a $50 game. You can play, 1 to 6 players. It is 60 minutes. I haven't really noticed that it's faster or slower with more people.
I'd say it's probably the same no matter how many people, just because you're all playing at the same time.
Right. Yeah. And you can play it solo. My son, who's 17, was like, I totally just want to sit here and play because it's fun. But this is $55, $50 with shipping. So for $15, or even if it's on sale, maybe even $13 off Amazon, you can get Super Mega Lucky Box, and it's kind of like Gamers Bingo. So, you call this Gamers Flippin' Right, and I would agree. If you just want a more in-depth, more brain-burning, but fun mechanic, check this out. If you want to know if you kind of like that mechanic, for $15, go get Super Mega Lucky Box, and if you enjoy chaining things together in that game, you're going to love this because it's that times 10.
Yeah, I think it was it was more gamer than I thought it was going to be, which is a positive. But I did not get it. It took me a while, and so I lost, I think, probably at least the first 2 phases of the game to not really realizing what I was doing, which isn't a knock at the game. That's not me saying it's not a good game because of that. It's me not realizing exactly what it was when I sat down to play it. If I played another game, the next time after that, my rating might be a little bit higher because starting from the beginning, I feel like I can have a strategy, whereas I didn't even come up with a strategy until halfway through the game. And for me, that made it harder to grasp the concept and overall feel of the game. But that's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I said, it's your first impressions.
Yeah.
So it's my recommendation. If you don't mind spending $50, check it out. It's available. You can still get it for Christmas. It's not the Kickstarter where you have to wait a year and a half. I've got a few of those on order, but we can talk about those at another time. But
Kickstarter.
But I really do enjoy it. And one of the things that, you know, I'm not trying to sell the game. However, everybody, gamer, not gamer, that's played it has just enjoyed it. Once you get over that 30 minutes, the first 30 minutes trying to teach somebody to play the game, it's not just sit down and hope they're going to understand it. You kind of have to start walking people through it. And I was walking people through it and making sure they understood it, because once they got the mechanic, it clicked. It's going to be like, I don't get it. Oh my God, this is easy. There's just a lot of it.
Yeah.
So once the switch flips, how's it? And whatever that term is, that's it. It's just go time, and then they're just down in it, and they're like all excited about feeling clever. This game makes you feel clever. You get cool stuff, and you just feel good as you're filling this whole thing out.
And you know, another good thing with this game, it is a gamer's game. We've said that multiple times. But when we played it, we had 5 people playing, and we were all at different levels of familiarity with board gaming. So we had some people that were playing that play the heavier, more complex games. We have some that were maybe more getting into gaming, kind of coming out of the gateway games.
Coming out of Monopoly?
Maybe more than that. Coming out of Catan, coming out of Pandemic, coming out of what we, Ticket to Ride, you know, what we would call the gateway games into the hobby gaming, or the gaming hobby. But then we also had some people that were a little bit less than that. So you have all these levels of player ability sitting at the table playing the same game, and we were all on the same page through the whole thing. It may have taken some of us a little bit longer to get started. You know, I play a lot of heavy, complex games. It took me a little bit to get started with this, but this is not a game style that I tend to play. Outside of maybe 2 or 3 games, Super Mega Lucky Box being one of them, I have not played a lot of roll and writes or flip and write games. So this is a different style of gaming. I like more of the longer strategy games. I like the Euro games, but this is an interest that is kind of popping into my gaming collection, whether that be owning or at least wanting to play the game. But the fact that we were all able to sit down and play together, that's not easy when you have a gamer's game, to have somebody who has not played a lot of hobby gaming sit down at the table with people who have played a lot of gaming, a lot of hobby games, and say, yeah, okay, I did it. And we all came out roughly similar in points.
And wanting to play it again.
And we all wanted to play it again.
Yeah. That's why the recommendation. So really hope you enjoyed this take on Hadrian's Wall. Check it out on Board Game Geek. Check out Man vs. Meeple for a good walkthrough on how to play. Recommend that versus reading the rules. It'll kind of really help you step things up. And if you're interested in us doing a playthrough, comment down below and let us know. I'd be happy to sit down and really walk everybody through it if you wanted to learn how to play it through our channel. It'd be really great.
Yeah. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you come back and watch some more of our reviews, some of our first impressions, some of our playthroughs, and other little bits of interest, hopefully, that we'll be putting out on the channel. Comment, ask questions, give us some feedback. We'd love to hear that as well.
You can sit here and watch us stare at the cameras. There'll be something here, maybe down here, or here to take you to some of our other great and wonderful YouTube videos. And I'm talking slow so you can watch those things that are sitting here on the left and right of me. Have a great night.
I was just going to start drinking while you talk.
There you go.